Hello, Alan Bradshaw here again, and I'm here with Professor Derek Mowbray. Derek, hello.
Hello, hello Alan.
And in this video, this is the second of 3 videos that we're recording, having a chat about the new Manager's Code for the NHS. Now, in this video, we're going to be looking at some issues about what the code is, what it's for, and why it's important. Derek, we talked in the last video about some of the background to the code and where it came from. But the first question I'd like to ask you is, this is about the sort of new Manager's Code. But first of all, I mean, what do you mean by a code? What is a code?
Well, a code has 3 principal purposes. The first purpose is that it provides the basic guide for manager behaviour and activities.
Yes.
The second main purpose is that a code is a reflection of the values of the organisation to which the code applies.
Yes.
And the third is that the codes generally are the ability to resolve ethical and other forms of dilemmas.
Yes.
Now, this particular code has been designed essentially to facilitate a change in the culture of the NHS,
right.
And therefore is the basic guide as to how that cultural change should manifest itself.
Yes, and the sort of terminology used for this code is being called a manager's code, isn't it?
Yes.
So presumably then that the role of managers and the behaviour of managers is critically important.
Absolutely important. Essentially what I was concerned to do was to bring about a change in the culture of the NHS, largely to enable the manager behaviours to reflect the cultural foundations which should, I believe, be based on a positive work culture idea, which then promotes well-being and performance.
Right.
Now, if there is a cultural context like that, then managers' behaviour should be able to reflect well-being and performance and the characteristics which lead to well-being and performance.
Right. Right. Now, in terms of I'm sure people watching would think, well, that sounds really good, but what would you see as really the main benefits of having a manager's code, a code like this?
Well, a code like this will lead to improved quality of care through improved engagement of staff, between staff and their organisation, in this case the NHS. All the evidence would suggest that if you can build a positive work culture based on well-being and performance, which itself is based on commitment, trust and engagement,
yes,
then people become much more concerned with their patients than with themselves.
Yes.
If you don't have commitment and trust, what tends to happen is that people are looking inwardly towards themselves, they develop self-interest, and they're protecting themselves because the culture itself is
yes,
threatening. Whereas if you can build a positive work culture, people will look outside of themselves towards their patients, and quality of care dramatically improves.
And presumably one of the major benefits of something like this is that it actually improves the lot of staff, and staff feel happier and less stressed, and that's obviously going to have a positive impact.
It has lots of impacts. For example, the rate of sickness, absence, staff turnover and presenteeism is pretty high in the NHS. Now, if you can create a culture based on commitment, trust and engagement, then those particular elements of the NHS will actually dramatically fall. So the costs of sickness, absence, staff turnover and presenteeism should dramatically fall as well.
Right, right. Now, I mean, these are sort of what you might term quite direct benefits, but presumably there are sort of indirect, sort of unforeseen benefits of introducing such a code, a manager's code.
Indeed, there are. I mean, the major benefits is that the reputation of the NHS will dramatically improve. Instead of having media coverage, which seems to be so negative and has been for a very long time, we will find that the NHS becomes a very attractive employer and become the employer of choice. Because the energy, the excitement, the innovation, the team working, the real success in patient care will actually be palpable, and people will really want to become part of that organisation.
Yes.
And that's really what we're after.
Yeah, so I mean real sort of improvements or reputational benefits.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks. So thank you, Derek, and that brings us to the end of our second video.
Thanks very much.